Welcome back, fellow travelers. I want to talk to you today about the Shire, visiting Hobbiton when you're in New Zealand. Is it worth it? What to expect? How long does it take to get there? Let's jump right in. So, I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'm not a huge, mega fan, but I love the movies. I love the lore behind it. So naturally, when I was in New Zealand, I made it a point of actually going to visit the Hobbiton location. It's where they filmed scenes for the Shire in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy and in the other trilogy that came out more recently, the one that didn't do as well, but it's still part of the lore, and it's pretty cool. One thing that is important to note right off the bat is I'm not going to be actually telling you interesting details about the location or about what's there, because honestly, I don't want to spoil it for you. It's one of the experiences that I really enjoyed in New Zealand, and New Zealand was like experience after experience after experience. If you're not a huge Lord of the Rings fan, you might not be interested, but if you have that person in your life that is, suck it up and go visit it with them. They will thank you for it. I drove from Auckland to Hobbiton, and it took about 2.5 hours. And it's important to note, Google Maps gives you the wrong directions. I got placed in the middle of a field that just happened to have a dead-end path, and I had to really wing it. I ended up calling Hobbiton, asking them how to get there. I kind of told them where I was, so I had to do a bit of driving before I found an actual sign that they can coordinate, and they knew where I was. So I would reference a few maps, get a good idea of around what roads you have to take, budget about 2.5 hours to get there, and then obviously 2.5 hours to get back. Now the cost is about $80, so it is steep. That's per person. That's if you're 18 or 17 and older. If you're younger, it costs like $25, $30, and if you're under 7, it's free. So it is a bit expensive. It's actually quite expensive, but I did enjoy it. So the money for me was well spent, and I can only imagine it being more. So I think it's a priceless experience if you are with somebody that really enjoys Lord of the Rings. And they also do pick up tours, so if you don't want to drive there, you can get picked up at certain locations. And I'll leave a link in the description for the actual website, so it can show you where they get picked up or where you can get picked up from. But it is important to note that you have to go to this early, because the Hobbiton set is not open 24 hours a day. It's really a private property. I think the last ones they take is about 3:30, 4:30 p.m. depending on the season. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Also, in terms of seasons, try to go during the summer, simply because everything is in bloom and the trees and the colors are really vivid. So it really makes it so that you get that Shire experience. Another thing I'm going to mention is people are going to ask you when they find out you're going to the Shire to take something from the Shire. So it may be a patch of grass, some leaves from one of the trees. Do not do that. Do not do that. They're watching you, and you get thrown out if you try something like that. Second of all, you're pulling stuff out, and it ruins it for other people. They take the location very seriously. They maintain it tremendously well. It's great. So to pull out parts of grass, if everybody did that, there'd be no grass. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Furthermore, they do monitor where you can and cannot step, because again, they have people there that are working on it every day. They have groundskeepers to make sure that the site looks great, and they have places that you can and cannot go. Another thing to mention is that the holes that you'd see on the side of the mountain, or on the side of the hilltops rather, not a mountain, they're not enterable, so you can't actually go in them. Whatever was filmed, let's say at Bag End, was done inside of a studio. So if you want to go into Bag's End, you can't. But you can take some pictures in front of Bag's End. The door opens a bit, so you can give the illusion of coming in and out. So that's pretty cool. Also, if for whatever reason they start filming another Lord of the Rings or something to do in Middle Earth, and they're using the Shire and they use that location, they might force you to sign a waiver form that forbids you from sharing images from that location. I was there at the tail end of the filming for the Hobbit trilogy, so I had to sign a DNA or DNC rather. It's DNC, not DNA. So they had me sign a DNC. I could not share it until the last film was released, so I am going to post some of the pictures up They're great. I really like them. The pictures don't do justice. As is the case with everything in New Zealand, really. The pictures that an amateur photographer takes, it just doesn't do the landscape justice. Budget a few hours also for this tour. Know that, so 2 hours and a half, 2.5 hours back. So that's 5 hours, another 2 hours. So that's about 7 hours of your day that will be taken just going to visit this location. Again, though, I highly recommend it. It was fun. Really interesting. You get put on a guided tour the duration of it, so the person will explain cool facts and details. You will at times have a lot of people that go and visit this place, so you're going to be surrounded by a lot of people. I was fortunate that we had very few people. We were like 20 people, and it was cool because you could kind of walk off not too far and do your own thing and take some pictures that makes it look like you're there on your own. But the place is really well maintained, and that's because they have a lot of rules and they're very strict about that. So keep that in mind. If you've been to Hobbiton, let me know what you thought. And if you haven't been to Hobbiton, is this something that you think you'd be interested in, whether you are a Lord of the Rings fan or not? Let me know. I'd be interested to know. In the meantime, you can check out some of my other videos right over here. And if you'd like to subscribe, you can do that right here. It not only helps the channel, it lets you know when we upload new content. I'd like to thank you for making me a part of your day. And until next time, safe travels.